Okay, hold on to your seats, UK business owners. Everything that you thought you knew about the bounce back loans might be wrong. And I am going to come out publicly and say, I think I was wrong too. Chris Worden, Director First. I am about to blow the lid off what really happens if you cannot pay back your bounce back loan. Forget the scare tactics, forget the bullshit, forget the misinformation. In the next 10 minutes, I am going to reveal the following. The shocking truth about credit reports and bounce back loan defaults. The secret game you can play with your lender to buy time or even get rid of your loan, and why insolvency firms are actually promising to make your loan disappear when in actual fact it could land you in absolute hot water. So stick around to the end and I'm going to share with you one crucial step that could save you from financial ruin. Okay, whether you're struggling to make payments on time or you just want to be prepared, this video is your lifeline. Chris Worden, Director First. Today we're going to be talking about what actually happens if you default on your bounce back loan, because there is so much misinformation out there. First, for most borrowers who took the loan, there's lots of them who can't repay them now. You know, it's like whatever's happened in their business, they've just not bounced back. They've used up all their pay-as-you-grow options. For those of you that don't know, pay-as-you-grow was you could take interest-only holidays, you could take payment holidays, you could take 3 interest-only holidays during the term of the loan, you could restructure the loan from 6 years to 10 years, but most of you are now out of bullets and you want to know what's actually going to happen. Well, first, for most borrowers who actually default, the main consequence is going to be a negative mark on your credit file. Okay, but let me just break that down. If you're a limited company, this will show up on your limited company's credit report. Okay, now if you are struggling to pay your bounce back loan as a limited company, my guess is you're struggling to pay everyone else, and your business probably can't get a packet of fags on tick now. So I'm not sure a negative credit impact on a limited company credit file is much to worry about, because the reality is if you can't pay your bounce back loan, you're insolvent anyway. You know, you're probably not looking to take on any more debt, and if you did try and take on some finance, you're going to get knocked back. But this is a little bit more interesting. So now if we have a look at the sole traders, it's a little bit different. Because if you're a sole trader, you took the bounce back loan essentially in your personal name, but a default won't appear on your personal credit file. It appears on a separate file called a trading as file, and most people don't even know that exists. So if you're a sole trader, you're not paying your bounce back loan back, it's gone into default, it shouldn't affect you getting personal credit. Now, let's have a look at this. If you're struggling to pay the bounce back loan back right now, as many people are, I don't want you to be panicking, okay? I want to talk to you about what the actual process is, right? And I'm going to talk about a default process. And this is how essentially you play the game with the lender who lent you the bounce back loan and you as the director, okay? Now this is going to help if you can't afford insolvency, because if you go into liquidation, right, you're going to be charged 4 or 5 grand plus VAT, okay? But if you've done something wrong with your bounce back loan, it's going to open a can of worms for you personally, right? Now, this is what you need to do. If you miss 1 or 2 payments on the bounce back loan, not a lot's going to happen. You'll get some calls, you'll get some text, you may get some letters. The key trigger is missing a 3rd payment. Because if you miss a 3rd payment, your loan goes into default, okay? Now, if you've not missed a payment yet, but you're struggling and you're getting anxiety and depression because of this bounce back loan, if you call the bank and tell them that it's affecting you, you know, mentally, they'll actually put you into default without missing 3 payments. But what I would suggest that you do is when you speak to your lender, right, it's dead important that you tell them, if you can't, by the way, you can't make any future payments. Don't agree to pay to something you can't stick to in your business. If you've got no hope of your business continuing, don't take the pay-as-you-grow option. It's just wasting time and actually adding interest to the loan. Tell them, I cannot afford to pay you. I'm no longer trading. What do you suggest? Now, if you speak to them, right, and you explain your vulnerabilities or hardships you're facing, this could be anxiety, depression, it's affecting your mental health, ask them to put a note on the file. Because let me tell you, I speak to directors all day that's mental health is in the toilet due to their business worries. So I'm not asking you to lie, but if you are genuinely getting hardship because of this bounce back loan that remained unpaid, tell the bank and ask them to put a note on it, right? Ask them if there's any additional help. And what they're going to do is they're going to pass it to a debt collector, right? Now, the debt collectors could be something like the Zing Group or Moorcroft or there are others. These debt collectors aren't like other ones in the sense they can't come to your house. They can't put any pressure on. They're going to phone you and they're going to write to you and they might text you. But if you follow that process, the chances are the bank will claim against the government and the government will give the bank the money back, but they won't tell you that, okay? Now, here's something I want to talk to you about that's really crucial, right? Because a lot of people are really worried that the bank's going to pursue the bounce back loan back aggressively. Now, there are only two circumstances where a bank will go after a loan aggressively. Number one, they suspect you're part of a criminal gang, okay? Number two, if you have clearly committed fraud with them. And we're starting to see banks, certainly Barclays are doing this now, is when they suspect fraud, they are getting the courts to wind the business up and they're selling some of the debts on to a litigation funder who will pursue the director, okay? But really, the government don't get involved in pursuing debts when it comes to bounce back loans unless you go through an insolvency process and some wrongdoing's uncovered. Like literally, lots of directors have liquidated with bounce back loans, tens of thousands, right? But a lot of directors who've liquidated with these loans and they've done something wrong, they've actually opened a can of worms. Because in an insolvency, in a liquidation, an insolvency practitioner is duty bound to look at what's gone on. They're going to report you if you took too much. They're going to report you to the insolvency service if you took a loan and you wasn't entitled to it. And this will trigger an investigation by the insolvency service, okay? Now, if you've done any of those things, your best advice is actually try and pay the loan back over a period of time. Going into liquidation actually opens a can of worms. And any firm out there who you tell you've committed bounce back loan fraud and they tell you not to worry about it, do not go any further with them. They are lying to you, okay? Now, I want a word of caution, right? Really, really, really be careful with these firms that I've just mentioned that are saying that they can make your bounce back loan disappear, okay? If you have done anything wrong with that bounce back loan, they are duty bound to tell the insolvency service and report it. Remember, if you've been honest with your bounce back loan, okay, you communicate with the lender, the consequences of defaulting are going to be no more than a black mark on the business's credit file, and the business is fucked anyway by the sounds of things. The key is to be upfront and explain your situation and work with the lender. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you've got a bounce back loan and you're worried about the consequences of it, speak to us at Director first or speak to the bank, okay? If you can't afford insolvency, okay, speak to the bank, get them to put you in default. They will get their money back from the government, and at some stage in the future, hopefully it will disappear. Stay tuned because I've got some more exciting news next month about bounce back loans and partial payments. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.